How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and today I'm going to be answering a rather pertinent question that I seem to be getting quite a lot on my streams and just in YouTube comments, which is going to be, what is the best starting class in Path of Exile? Now, we are staring at all of the classes right now, and I do have one major choice out of all of these that I would go for personally. But this is going to be, of course, my opinion, and other people will sometimes say Ranger is better, for example, than what my choice is going to be. But ultimately, you can play whatever you like. You may end up bricking a character and having a build that doesn't work. That's fine. Roll another character, and that is the way of Path of Exile. It is a multi-character, multi-class type of game, and any character can do anything. But you're here for a definitive answer, and I have that for you today. Because what I would recommend, and what I always recommend to people on my stream, is to play Marauder. Right here, the third option. I'm not going to click on him because it will start doing a ton of backstory and will be very, very loud. But allow me to pop in game and explain to you why. Marauder is the most versatile character that I have ever played in an action RPG. Now, I haven't really done much experimenting with some of the other classes. I plan to do that in the coming future in this current league. But the builds that I have in the description for you, I have two builds, which are basically variations of each other, one from last patch and one from this patch, are able to play virtually any skill gem that Marauder has access to, any strength-based skill gem, as well as pretty much most of the dexterity-based ones, with a few tweaks. And tweaks is the major word here, because the builds that I'm going to be showing you or giving to you are able to be changed a little bit to adapt to whatever ability you like. The main thing about Path of Exile is having an idea or a spark of creativity. And that allows you to form whatever type of build you are looking to make. Some people make crazy, wacky builds. Some people make extremely simple builds, like the one I'm rolling with right now, which is just a ground slam Marauder. But this type of build, which is a general all-encompassing type of leveling build that can be adapted to any skill gem for the most part, is not common amongst most of the other classes that I've seen. You have to start focusing from the get-go. So you want to focus on minions, you start focusing in minions from the start. But with Marauder, they have a pretty generic skill tree. I will pop in and show you right now. The most of Marauder is going to be either one and two-handed damage, so you can make your choice up on which way you like to go, as well as just a ton of maximum life. You have maximum life up here and here. You have max life down here, over here, right here. Like, you see what I mean, right? You have max life here and fucking here. All around you, pretty much everywhere. And that is damn good, because max life is an exceptional thing to take in your skill tree. For those of you who have paid attention to my beginner's guide to Path of Exile, my ultimate beginner's guide, you'll know that life is exceptionally important because it minimizes your chances to get one shot. Now, the major headline for Path of Exile has seemed to become, what the fuck, how did I die? And having a ton of max life and just defensive layers help you to mitigate that. Now, the main reason that I say that Marauder is the most versatile class is because there are many ways to fix Marauder, and you can find out what's wrong with your build quite easily. And if you can't, then you can come to the description and click the Discord link and message me on Discord, or pop into a live stream, and I will fix the build for you. I've done it for multiple people, and hell, the build that I'm about to show you, I actually made for someone in my stream, and they cleared the first time to all the way through Act 10 with it after having bricked 2 or 3 characters. So let me pull this up for you very quickly. Now I'm going to show you the old variant first, which is built more for an all-arounder. The other variant has been adapted a little bit to my Berserker ground slam playstyle, and I will show you exactly what I mean with how to adapt a build for what you want to try to do. These will both be in the description. You can just click them. It'll take you to this exact website, poeplanner.com. So we're going to start off with a very basic start. We're going to grab max life off of the start. You'll have to excuse my mouse wheel. My mouse is kind of on its way out. We're going to go for the very basic start of grabbing maximum life here, and then we're going to grab even more max life here. This little bit of all resist cluster is going to be exceptional for a starting out player who doesn't really realize where they're starting to go wrong or why they're dying. Because in Path of Exile, if we bring up our defensive layer here, we go into defenses, you have a thing called resistances right here. And with these not being at 75%, I know my gear is bad, you will start taking tons and tons of damage from fire elements, cold elements, and lightning elements, and they will kill you very, very rapidly. So you want to make sure that you have exactly enough, at least hopefully 75 if you're geared correctly. You have to equate for at Act 5 and Act 10, you lose 30% resistances respectively. So that's 30% in Act 5 and 30% in Act 10. So you're at minus 60 resistances. I've only cleared past like Act 7 or so I'm only at minus 30 on this character. So we come back in here. This will make your life a ton easier by grabbing those. So then you can opt for going for some max life, for example, maybe go for some life leech. Perhaps come down here after you grab this node up here, get even more max life and resistances down here. We are going to be moving through this a little bit quicker, but you can take a look at it, of course, yourself if you'd like to. You can grab some more life over here. And then this is kind of, I have this fully filled out for you, so you can opt to take it however you want to. But an endgame cluster I would recommend is, if you look over at these ones, don't grab these ones as you get to them. Leave them for endgame and your endgame weapons once you actually figure out what weapon you'd like to use. I have axes selected here because I was going for an A-series disfavor ground slammer, which I still kind of am going for, if I'm honest. But I went for axes, of course, right here. These are the weapon type of nodes. These are specific to Marauder. I mean, you can get them on any other classes, but they're mostly on this side for these types of weapons. We have axes up here, maces up here, and then swords down here. Of course, whichever one you are taking will be whichever one you would want to take. If you're using a sword, take the sword nodes. If you're taking an axe, take the axe nodes. But I'd recommend leaving that until the end, and when you kind of sort out what skill gem you'd like to use and what sort of build changes you would like to make. You can grab some two-handed damage off the start here, get a nice little bit of extra added damage. You can come up, get some fizz damage with swords and axes. Of course, no, we were going for axes, so we can grab that. If you're not going to run axes or you have a mace build in mind, then skip that completely. Moving up here, we can grab a jewel socket if you are in need of that for whatever you're opting to do. You can grab the Scion Life Cluster if you need even more health, and this is kind of the end-all, be-all. This is like the maximum level type of area you want to opt for, so don't maybe opt for that just yet. Maybe try and go up a little bit higher up here instead. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. You can pop across, grab Tireless for even more maximum life, and then come up again, get Sanctity, some more max life up here, some percent damage here, and some area of effect. This will affect pretty much most of the AoE type of skills in Path of Exile. This is a fantastic cluster that will affect, for example, Ground Slam, which I use right here. You can use Earthquake, you can use Sunder. It will affect all of these types of skills. The only ones it won't affect will be ones like, let's see, Molten Strike, Heavy Strike, like targeted type of skills. Those ones won't be affected by increased area of effect. So opting for that type of build will not really be that great if you opt for area of effect. Now, one major thing I want to comment on with this build setup here that I have going is that while I talk about versatility, on the topic of that, I have been playing this this build pretty much, and I've adapted it myself to Berserker to fit my current idea. And as a result, I've actually been able to test multiple skill gems and see which ones work. And I'm actually planning to test another one pretty soon here. At the moment, I've tested Ground Slam, I've tested Earthquake, and I've tested Dual Wield Cleave, even while leaving my two-handed nodes in because I didn't feel like taking them out and doing all that work with Regret Orbs. And they were all able to actually clear quite sufficiently while leveling. For the reason of is your skill tree setup isn't really in here. This is more your funnel. My mouse wheel is really screwing up, isn't it? This is more your funnel for maximum life. Your skill gem setups start to come up in here. So if you get links and they get all up to your supports and that sort of thing, you can get more information on that in my Ultimate Beginner's Guide. But this is where your skill builds start to really come together. This is just where you can get a baseline to start adapting to a build or start creating your own build and take my preset and move it into whatever you'd like to. So if I were to, let's see, I wanted to play Berserker, alright, so I will start showing you a few of the augments that I've made to this. A few last minute changes, or not even last minute changes, last minute comments is we go up here for all resist. We come in, grab Elementalist from the back to get even more all resist, and then we can get even more life down here. Now, this is the 123 point filled out fully skill tree, so you might not end up with this bit, or you might not end up with the axe nodes, or that sort of thing. But take a look at this yourself and kind of opt and build around it. But I'm going to show you now how you can adapt this base skill tree into one that fits, for our case, a Berserker style of build. You can take this exact same build, play it as a Juggernaut. You can take this exact same build, knock out this side, knock out the axe nodes, take some fire damage, take some totem damage down here, take totem damage and elemental damage up here, and play my Flame Totem Chieftain very, very easily. Alrighty, so let's move over from this to the Berserker variant over here that I have planned out for my current character. So you'll see that right off the bat, we already have a change right here. As opposed to leaving out the bottom bit, we are going for the life regeneration, because for Berserker, if we pop into our ascendancy here, we see that we end up needing life regeneration quite a bit, because every point of rage you have will start giving you life degeneration in exchange for a metric shit ton of damage. So we need to start opting for life regeneration because we want to play Berserker. Okay, pretty simple. So we end up going for a life regeneration here. Same kind of skill path. I'm not opting for the elemental resistances just because I personally don't need them as a starting player. This is an optimal pathing for you to take, in my opinion. And then we're coming up through here, avoiding that a little bit down there. Grabbing two-handed damage because I plan to play two-handers, of course. Opting for attack speed through here, coming around and grabbing 2 points into armor mastery here. We can grab the armor there. You can take this route as well if you want to, but this one actually yields that 2% more armor. Gotta be min-maxed, right? You guys know how it is. That 2% more armor, taking that for the life regeneration node, which is, of course, very, very needed. Then we're going to come through, grab endurance right here. Actually, I could just pop in game and show you the more up-to-date variant. Alright, we come back in through here, and we want to get this last point right here, because after doing a little bit of looking around on the skill tree, of course, we need life regeneration, right? So we opt for life regeneration per endurance charge. We also come down and take the jewel socket, which we put a ground slam jewel in to make it so our ground slam can give us endurance charges, right? So we get endurance charges from that, and then we end up getting life regeneration per endurance charge. You're starting to see some synergy, right? I took this basic build right here, and I started to put it to work for me. I didn't take this in here, but in this adaptation we did, because it has life regeneration, which I need for my Berserker, right? I needed the jewel socket for my Berserker as well, because it uses ground slam, and I needed that ground slam jewel. So now if we come back in, we grab some of the life down here. Notice how I haven't taken any clusters yet on this side, because I don't know which weapon I'm going for. I might go for a Tidebreaker, I might go for an Asterius Disfavor, which are mace and axe respectively. So I don't know which one I'm going to take just yet until I reach my ultimate endgame setup. So we're kind of leaving that out to be a little bit iffy. This is where we start to get really into the changes. Notice how we haven't actually gone over here just yet. So the reason that I come down here is not only because there's been updates to the skill tree for 3.4, and they've added in like Battle Cry, which gives me instant war cries, which is exceptional, but ignoring the new nodes as well, we can come down here to make a little bit of a skill tree change, and then we get an extra endurance charge, and look at this, more life regeneration. This is key to us playing a Berserker, of course. We get life regeneration right here, and we come up and we get more life regeneration right here. Were I to play a Juggernaut, for example, I may not need to spend all of these travel nodes just to get this life regeneration. Optimally, because I'm playing Berserker and my endgame ascendancy point right in here, makes it so that I take 10% life degeneration while I have capped rage. I need to opt for 10% regeneration because I'm building around Berserker, right? So we go for pretty much every life regen node humanly possible. So after making our way down here, we start going up here instead. We come across, grab the jewel socket. This is going to become a second rapid expansion once I end up buying one and deciding if I'm actually sticking with ground slam or not. And then we come over and we grab combat stamina. Now notice I didn't take this cluster in here either, right? Well, I don't think combat stamina was even here. Was it? Yeah. No, combat stamina was here, and I did actually take it in here. But we opt for that because it is 1% life regeneration for a few points. And we get the life regeneration all around. Ignore the armor out there. Go over here, and we get 2 leveling nodes for dexterity and int. Now you could, instead of opting for those, could just opt for the versatility here, which I probably should have taken. I'm not going to lie, it's got attack speed on it. Probably would have been better. But you can take those 2 leveling nodes to make your life easier. Another new node here that I'm playing with for Berserker. Come down, get our Resolute Technique, and then we can start coming up here. Now, of course, I'm only like what level am I on this character? 59 right now, and I haven't done all my skill points and all that shit. I still have a lot more to do, so let's pop into this variant instead. So you can see what my general plans are. With extra points, I can grab the Martial Expertise node here for extra damage, and then we come up, grab Sanctity for more life regeneration, and we can actually, one thing I missed in this tree here, is we come back in here, and I plan on getting these 3 extra nodes because they're more life regeneration, right? We're building for Berserker, so we're passing off for the things we need while still keeping the base skill tree. So if we pan out, you can see I still have the increased area of effect that I have up in this build, right? You can see I still have that. I do a little bit of panning differently. I don't need the all resist because I'd like to gear it instead of just taking it in the skill tree, get myself extra points. You can see I opt for endurance charges and the life regenerate or max life there. You can see in the basic build where I don't take endurance charges, I skip out on endurance charges, right? Just go for the maximum life and that sort of thing. And you can see, because if I were to play Berserker, or if I were to play Juggernaut, I would probably opt for this route because it gives me more maximum life, more all resist, more max life down there. Evasion rating, which I can convert to, what is it? I can convert that into armor, I believe. I can convert that into armor quite easily. With one of the other nodes, you can get iron reflexes on other pieces of gear, which allows you to get extra armor on top of that, which is always quite nice. And you can pass up for mana problem fixing and that sort of thing. But this is where I could take, like, were I to play Juggernaut and opt to go more tanky, right? Defensive layers. But since I need life regeneration, we can adapt the skill tree quite easily, and instead of going over there, we can start going and passing down here like we were before. You'll have to excuse the skill tree being a little bit unupdated here, but we, instead of having something along the lines of this, for example, end up with something a little bit more like this. Still grabbing the life here, but instead of opting for up here, we've realized that we need life, or not life regeneration, so we move for down here and over here. That is just a little bit of basics on how to adapt the basic build that I've laid out for you. And part of the reason why I love Marauders so much, this basic build right here can play virtually any skill that you can find under the strength section. Now, that will deviate depending on which one you play for which way you go. If you play Dominating Blow and you don't have any minion damage, well, what did you really expect? It's a minion-based skill, and I can't really cover all the bases with a generic physical melee damage Marauder, but I can try my goddamn best. That's going to be all from me. As always, take care, lads. So